soon as I stopped worrying about these 9 things I'm going to talk about today, I built way more muscle. What is going on, guys? Hope you are well. Elliot Gibson here, natural bodybuilder who is here to help you build more muscle. And you saw the title of the video, 9 things I stopped concerning myself with worrying about to then build more muscle. So let's get straight into the first one. Number 1 is spending way too much time worrying about whether or not I can build a certain physique with steroids or with no steroids, or what's possible without steroids, or such and such is on steroids. It doesn't matter. And I think as soon as you stop concerning yourself with what other people are doing and just completely focusing on only improving your own process, you just end up making more progress. And I think the bodybuilders that make the most progress are the ones that don't believe that there's this ceiling. They don't believe that they're tapped out at any level. They just keep going and keep progressing. There's no limit to their performance. There's no limit to a look. And they're only focused on their own process. Number 2 is supplements. And I've told this story before, but when I started training, I remember watching James Hollingshead, and he was going through what he was drinking during his workout. It included cyclic dextrin, it included Pepto Pro, it included so many other things, and I ended up just buying all of that because I thought that that would lead me to build a more muscular physique. And it's really important to remember that the basics are the most important thing first. Was I being consistent with my meals? No. Was I training to the level of James Hollingshead? No. So it doesn't warrant me using those supplements. And I think spending tons of money, although these supplements can eventually be quite useful, and things like pre-workouts are fun and whatnot, but they're not the difference. They're not the reason why you haven't built the physique that you want to. And again, concern yourself with the basics. Don't worry so much about supplements. 3, being concerned with the time that I train. I've trained at different times before, and I used to think because I had to train late that it was hindering my progress. I used to work like 14, 15-hour shifts in the NHS, and I would train after those shifts. And if that's the only time you can train, that's the only time you can train. And again, thinking that you can't train then because it's too late and you have to skip sessions, is only holding you back. Number 4, and controversial one, but being caught up in your training split and the importance of your training split. I have recently released a reel on how I think too many people are overly concerned with what training split they're doing, and they're overthinking it, and they're not thinking about the way that they're actually executing that training split. They're not thinking about their execution with their nutrition. I think there's just a lot of emphasis on training split. Like whenever a bodybuilder does a Q&A on their story or whatever, one of the questions is always, what's your split? And I just think that it doesn't matter if you're doing push-pull legs, it doesn't matter if you're doing upper-lower, it doesn't matter if you're doing a bro split, it doesn't matter if you do legs, then legs again, and then you do, it doesn't matter. For most people, they haven't got the muscle mass to see glaring weak points. They just need to get bigger everywhere else. So I honestly think the most important thing when selecting a split is, will I actually enjoy doing this split? Can I stay consistent doing it? And that's pretty much it. Can I progress the movements that are in that split? I think this whole conversation and this trend of like everyone just wanting to know everyone's split and if that's going to be the secret to them getting bigger, and it's just not. Select a split that you really enjoy and just nail that consistently. I actually watched one of my favorite podcasts, It's Just Bodybuilding, and Ron Partlow was talking about a split that he'd done from like 1993 to 2004, and he didn't change his split. He didn't change it. He just found a split that worked for him, and he got up to 320 pounds in his off season. You don't need to overly concern yourself with a training split. And then it's only until you get really experienced and really muscular, when you see glaring weak points, that you can start to make adjustments. Number 5, pretty basic, but getting caught up in training trends, hacks, trying to get there quicker, etc. We know what works, we know what we need to do to build muscle. And as far as we're concerned right now, that's not going to change. We know that you need to progressively overload. We know that you need to do that consistently over time. And we know you need to eat in a slight surplus. There's ways that we can do things to perhaps make that a little bit more efficient. So timing your meals properly and selecting foods that are a little bit easier to get down and whatnot, and picking exercises that you actually enjoy. But at the end of the day, that process is going to take time, and there's no quick road. You can't cheat the system. It just is what it is, and you just got to get on with it. 6 is having perfect meal timings. Now this might be for my guys that are a little bit more experienced, and you might think that you need to have your meals perfectly spaced out every 2 hours, and I think that can cause more stress for a lot of people, which is obviously not good for building muscle, right? So I think as long as you eat consistently throughout the day, if you've got 5 meals to eat 5 meals. Don't stress too much if you don't have a meal within like the next 2 hours. If it goes 3 hours, that's absolutely fine. If you can't get the meal times perfect, don't let it absolutely ruin your head. Number 7, this is a big one. It's something that I see a lot, and it's being overly emotional towards a logbook and thinking that this logbook is like a Bible. I think that takes away the enjoyment of training for a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a really good idea to hold yourself accountable, to aim to progress your performance. And I also think you're not going to be able to add weight to the bar every single week. It's not going to happen. Some weeks, and there might be some weeks, you might feel a little bit off. It might happen. And for that to then ruin your day, I just think it just hinders your progress. It makes you hate training. Sometimes you can make training a little bit more intuitive. I think you can use that logbook as a little bit of a reference. You can auto-regulate your volume sometimes. You can make changes on the fly if you need to. This isn't me saying that you need to cop out and not make progression, but at the same time, you need to understand that that logbook is just a tool. It shouldn't be treated as like Bible, because yeah, it could really ruin your love for training. That's all I'm gonna say. Number 8 is worrying about how long it's gonna take. Stop worrying and stressing about, when am I gonna look like this? When is this gonna happen? When is that gonna happen? A common trend among people who make the most progress is they just get on with it. They get on with it. There's no, I'm gonna look like this by this, or this is gonna happen by this. There's enjoyment in the daily process, the routine, the grind, whatever cringy word you want to use to describe it. I think there's enjoyment in that, rather than, why has this not happened? Why have I not got the physique of my dreams in 4 months? Why do I not look like Jay Cutler or Derek Lunsford? These people didn't have these expectations within a time frame. They just continued getting better every single year, and then 10 years later they're where they are, right? But they didn't think about the time. They didn't care. They just kept getting better and better and better. And you can do that too. So I think stressing about trying to get things done in a certain time frame is just a recipe for disaster. It's almost akin to people that are like, I'm gonna get married by the time I'm 24. And the final thing that you need to stop worrying about to build more muscle is getting lean for the summer. This whole thing of winter bulk, summer cut, winter, summer, bulk, cut. Winter's not that long. So your bulk hasn't been long enough. You've bulked for about 3 or 4 months. Not long enough, not significant enough to build muscle. Your periods of time spent in these phases is too short, especially trying to build muscle. Building muscle is not something that can be done within 3 months. You're not gonna make significant changes to your physique in those months. So give yourself a year. Can you go a full year without dieting? Why do you need to do a summer cut? Who are you trying to impress? What? If you really care about progressing your physique, you understand that it takes time to build muscle, so you're willing to put in that work to bulk for a longer period of time. If you're gonna do a bulk, commit to it for at least a year, and then you're gonna see more significant progress. And that's it, guys. Hope you found that useful. Please, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. There's videos every single week. Hit that like button as well, and I'll see you for the next one.